Today, we're going to talk about the film The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The main character is Walter, a man in his 40s who works at a magazine. Every day he sorts photos. His life is monotonous, and he is timid and lacks confidence. Walter is an ordinary negative asset manager at a magazine. This dull and oppressive work gradually makes Walter timid and insecure. In real life, he has no courage to take control of his own life and can only silently endure when treated unfairly. To relieve the pressure of reality, he develops the habit of daydreaming. Whenever real life makes him feel exhausted or helpless, his mind automatically enters a fantasy mode where he imagines a perfect world. He has a crush on a coworker named Cheryl, but in reality he doesn't dare talk to her. In his daydreams, however, he is an all-powerful hero, rushing into burning buildings to save people, becoming a gentle adventurer, and confidently talking to the woman he likes. The company's new manager constantly bullies and targets him. In reality, Walter can only endure it silently. But in his imagination, he confronts the manager directly, and his co-workers all support him. For Walter, daydreaming is not a bad habit. It is a way to release his emotions. Everything he cannot do in reality, he accomplishes in his imagination, filling the gaps and regrets in his life. In fact, Walter has never been someone content with mediocrity. Deep inside him, there has always been a love for adventure and freedom. Before his father died, he left Walter a travel bag and a travel journal. His father hoped Walter would go out, broaden his horizons, and see the world. But after so many years, the journal remains empty. His mother takes out an old photo album. As a child, Walter was bold and expressive, loved skateboarding, and even won a local skateboarding championship. But as an adult, he gave up his hobbies and dreams to take care of his family and work steadily to support his mother. He still carries a Superman toy, a reminder of his childhood and the brave version of himself. Now, Walter is trapped in a dull life. His life is plain and boring, until a missing negative completely changes everything. The magazine department he works for is about to undergo restructuring. The print edition will be discontinued and shifted to online-only publishing. The magazine's photographer, Sean, sends in his final roll of film, along with a card and a custom wallet. On the card, he writes that the 25th negative in this roll is his best work ever, representing the essence of life. He believes Walter is the right person to handle it properly. The wallet bears the magazine's motto, suggesting that the 25th negative should be used as the final cover of the last print issue. But when Walter develops the film, he discovers that the most important 25th negative is missing. At an urgent company meeting, the new manager demands that the 25th negative be used as the final cover and orders Walter to produce it immediately. Walter has no choice but to lie, saying it is still being processed. To find the missing negative and keep his job, Walter gathers courage to approach Cheryl. Since Sean is a freelance contributor and Cheryl handles his payments, Walter hopes she can provide contact information for him. But Cheryl tells him Sean has no fixed address, no phone, and is almost impossible to reach. She suggests Walter carefully examine the remaining negatives for clues. Walter quickly develops the remaining film and ends up with only 3 photos. The first is of an object. The second is a stranger's thumb. The third shows the ocean and a ship. From the ship in the photo, Walter deduces that Sean likely boarded that vessel before. Before he can fully process the clues, his manager once again demands the negative. Seeing Walter holding a Superman toy, the manager mocks him for being childish and incompetent. The two argue. This Superman toy actually carries deep meaning for Walter. In his stressful and unfair life, it is a source of psychological comfort. The Superman represents freedom and dreams, standing in contrast to his oppressive reality and repetitive work. The fight in this imagined scene is essentially a clash between Walter's dreams and reality. But imagination is still imagination. No matter how brave or free he becomes in his mind, reality he must still put the toy away and continue compromising. To find Sean and the missing negative, Walter consults Cheryl again. During their interaction, he learns that Cheryl has recently divorced and is raising a child alone. Cheryl suddenly has an emergency and asks Walter to look after her son. Her son loves skateboarding, something Walter is very good at. He patiently teaches the boy tricks and impresses him. However, Cheryl does not witness this confident side of Walter. Eventually, Cheryl helps Walter find a key clue. The ship in the photo docked in Nuuk, Greenland. She encourages him to travel there to investigate. For an ordinary person, this is a simple trip, but for Walter, it is a huge challenge. At over 40 years old, he has never left his hometown. Meanwhile, his assistant searches the entire office, but still cannot find the 25th negative. Walter is left with two choices, either be fired or travel to a foreign place to find Sean. Looking at the photos in his dull life, he finally decides to leave and travel to Greenland. At this moment, the magazine's motto awakens him: to see the world, face danger, break limitations, connect with others, and truly experience life. This is the true meaning of life. For the first time, Walter takes a plane and leaves the city he has lived in for decades. Outside the window, he sees mountains, clouds, and sunlight he has never witnessed before. He realizes that the world is far more beautiful and vast than his imagination. Upon arriving in Greenland, he must choose between two vehicles, one red, one blue, symbolizing a life decision. Blue represents hiding in fantasy and escaping reality, while red represents confronting real life. Walter chooses red without hesitation. At a local bar, he searches for clues and is approached by a drunken helicopter pilot. During their conversation, Walter notices the man's thumb matches the one in the photo. The pilot tells him he recently flew Sean out to sea, and he will soon return to deliver supplies to a ship. Walter can join him. Despite the stormy weather and danger, Walter hesitates and initially refuses. At that moment, he slips back into a daydream, where Cheryl sings a powerful and comforting song on guitar inspired. Walter realizes that his fantasies are actually reflections of his inner voice urging him forward. He no longer wants to retreat. He gathers courage and boards the helicopter, eventually jumping into the freezing ocean. He is nearly attacked by a shark, but is rescued by a passing crew. However, he learns Sean left for Iceland 4 hours earlier. Walter refuses to give up. He steals a bicycle at the dock and rides along the coastline. The wind and sunlight wash away his anxiety, and he finally feels freedom. He trades his Superman toy with a boy for a skateboard. This is a key symbolic moment. The Superman toy represents his past illusions and escape from reality, while the skateboard represents real freedom and courage. By giving up the toy, he lets go of unrealistic fantasies and embraces real action. He skates down winding roads, no longer afraid of the unknown, fully immersed in the present. But when he reaches a small town, it is deserted and an alarm suddenly sounds. An eruption is imminent from a nearby volcano. During evacuation, Walter sees Sean flying toward the erupting volcano to capture its rare beauty. Walter escapes safely, but once again misses Sean. He returns to the company without the negative and is fired by the manager. This time, he finally stands up for himself instead of staying silent. Later, he learns Cheryl has also been laid off. He goes to her home to return the skateboard and intends to confess his feelings, but another man answers the door and he leaves awkwardly. Both his career and love life hit rock bottom. He throws away Sean's wallet and stares at the remaining negative, feeling life has lost meaning. Then he discovers something surprising. The image on the negative is his own home piano, down to every detail. His mother tells him Sean had visited and taken photos of him. Sean said Walter himself is the perfect subject for his work. The negative was actually taken by his mother. She also tells him Sean is heading to the Himalayas to photograph snow leopards. Although Walter feels exhausted, his mother encourages him not to leave life with regrets. He takes his father's travel bag and the empty journal and sets off for the Himalayas. During the journey, he experiences different landscapes and meets many people. He becomes more confident, more open, and more willing to face challenges. Eventually, he finds Sean and asks for the 25th negative. Sean surprises him by saying it has always been inside the wallet he gave Walter. Walter realizes with frustration that he had thrown it away. Before they can continue talking, a rare snow leopard appears. Sean does not take a photo, saying that some beautiful moments are best experienced, not captured. He believes that truly precious moments should be felt, not forced into a camera. Afterward, Sean joins locals in playing football with Walter. On the vast plateau, they run freely, enjoying simple happiness.